And pseudocode can be used to express algorithm by using natural language. It's not a programming language. Pseudo means it's not real programming language. So what we want to do is we use simple English to represent the code. Now what we have done so far is use a graphical system like this, right? Adding two numbers we discuss. So you say start, you get the first number, second number, you perform the addition, and then you calculate the total, and that's the end of it, right? So likewise, what we are going to do with the pseudocode. Now what we have done so far is we get this. Yes, now for example, I can say, okay, begin. We have begin, and then we know that it's the first number, so we can say input first number and input second number, and then you perform the calculation. So to indicate this is a process, you use calculate total equals first number plus second number and at the end you are going to display. Oh lokoy gedrine tapra denai indako chutta oh chutte lokoy oh okay. So okay, we were discussing the calculate this, and then finally you display the total. So print or display. So I'm going to use display total, and that's the end of this. So remember that, so representing graphics we learned earlier, it's as a flow charts. Now you can convert into pseudocodes, right? So this we have already done. And the next one, calculate the area of a rectangle. This is also will be the same. So let's do the third one. I want you to try alone this one, and then can you share me your code maybe in the chat, or you can use it to WhatsApp, right? Okay, write the pseudocode for this one. So we start saying begin to start, and input radius, we say input radius, no change. And for the process area equal 5 radius square, for we say calculate, that's the term we use in pseudocode. area equals 22 by 7. Instead of pi, I put that value, but you can use pi in pseudocodes, no problem. And I put radius into radius. Then display area. And finally, it's the end of this. So here is my answer for this. Okay. Shall we go to the next one then? Finished? Okay, next one, let's look at how we perform selection in pseudocode, right? So let me share the screen. Now we know that in the selection, this is what we have. This is what we have. Usually we have a condition. If it is yes, then you are going to do something. If it is no, you are going to do something else, right? So if it is true, to represent selection, we use if here, right? The keyword if is used. Now, when you see if, you should remember that this is selection, right? If then you put a condition, then you have then. Then true side, whatever the value here, you put it here. And if it is no, that will indicate with the else part. And then you have the next alternative. So the task 2 and end if. So if it is true, it's task 1. If not, then task 2. So that's how we represent in pseudocode. Yes, can you take down this? Let's see how we can put this in pseudocode. Let me know when you finish taking down the the note. Okay, so first of all, you have to start, right? So you don't have to draw the flow chart because we have already done this earlier. So just write the pseudocode. So what is the first line? How do you start? How do you start, Janani? we can say begin, isn't it? So that's the starting point. Then we have to say input marks, no change. Input marks, that's there. What is the next line? Yes, Amasha. So this is a selection, right? If marks is greater than or equal to 50, yes, then pass, otherwise fail. So we can say if marks greater than or equal 50, then, okay, this is how we put up a condition. If it is true, what will happen? You know, print pass. I'm going to say display here. Pass. It's a message, so I will put pass. Else, I'm going to say fail. At the end, we will say end if, and we'll finish with end. So this is how, given a selection, we convert into pseudocode. So in this one, we expect to get a number from the user, and then I want you to display whether the number is even or odd. Okay, so in this one, what we are going to do, we are going to convert, so this, yes, I got the answer from Pramudi as well. Yes, you can put calculate here. Others are okay. Right. So let's start. So we will say begin. So we will say begin. So that's the starting point. And then you get the number. So you have to say input number. And then you have a remainder. So remainder, we are finding remainder by dividing 2. So that means it's the process, which means we have to say calculate, right? Remainder, you can write the same thing we have written here. Let me put some mathematical form. So this is how we will write. So we can say number, and there's a mod operator. Mod means modulus, which means you divide the number by 2 and get the remainder. So the remainder is either 0 and 1. So we have if remainder equals 0, then we know display even, else display odd. Right. Okay, if you want, you can take down any changes to this. I think most of your answers are correct. Good. I got even in the WhatsApp, and I managed to, mark them as well. Okay, so let's move on to the next one then. So in the next one, what we are going to do, so this one we say we are going to change this time. So I'm going to say number mod 2. Otherwise you can do the same. Yes, let's move on to the next one. Different state water given the temperature value. Remember, we have done this earlier. Yes, I want to try out this. So let's together we will try. So this is what we have. We have two selections, isn't it? So remember, we did this in the flow charts. We get the temperature value. If it is less than 0, we said ice. Otherwise, there'll be another selection. We check this time whether the temperature is less than or equal 100. If so, we print order, otherwise it's free. Okay, let's start. Only take down the example. You don't have to take down the flow chart because we have already done this. Okay, so we'll take this. We say begin. We have input temperature. You can do before me and send me the answer in the WhatsApp so that I can check your answers. Yes. What's next? We say begin. We get the temperature value. Right. So here we have temperature. So we have if. So we have to say if temperature less than 0, then, so this is what we are going to do. So within this, we are going to say, okay, I'm going to say display, print is okay, ice. So it's a message. So I put double quotes. And then else part, okay, else, after else, that side, you have another selection, isn't it? So that means you need another if. So we can say if, so this time we can say temperature less than equal 100, then yes, we can say display water, else we have to say display stream, and if, and then after this you have to have another end if, right? Because you have two if statement. That's the only error I have seen your answers. Others, they are really good, right? So if you need, you can take down. So in this one, the next question, we want to write the pseudocode. We'll get marks, and based on that, we are printing grade. Now, first of all, we check whether the value is marks is greater than or 75, then it's A. If it is between 65 to 74, B, 55 to 64, C, 40 to 54 is S, and if it is below 40, it's W. Okay, here is the flow chart for this. You just have to convert this into pseudocode. Let's start. So let me start with putting begin. So that's begin. And then we have say input marks. And then we have if statement. So if the condition is marks, we are checking whether it's greater than or equal to 75. Then if that is the case, we know that it's display A. Yes. Else, okay, another if. It's inside this if, right? Remember, it's inside this if. Now this one, this time you are checking whether marks is greater than or equal to 65. Yes, 65. If that is the case, we are going to say display B. Else, you have another if. It's within this. 55. Then we are going to say display C. Else, we are going to check again if marks greater than or equal to 40. Then we are going to say, okay, display S, else display W. That's the first end if we have. Then we are going to end this end if. And then we are going to end this end if. And this we are going to have end if. 4 end if statement should be there. And finally you have it. Yes. So this should be the correct answer. So this is the answer we got for this. And let's move on to repetition. Now repetition, what we had was, we had a condition. If it is true, you perform a particular task and then you repeat. The arrow goes up. If the arrow goes up, then we know that this is repetition. Now, to represent repetition, we use the keyword while, and the n we represent using n while. So what happens here, it will evaluate this condition. If it is true, you are going to perform the task. Again, you are going to evaluate the condition. So this will repeat, right? So this is exactly what we are going to do, right? Numbers from 1 to 10. So which means we have to start with begin. Let's try with me. First one, you have this. There's no change of this one. Okay, now see the repetition part. So you see the arrow goes up. So this is the condition. True, then you are going to perform these two. So that means you have while. Then what you're going to check is whether the number is less than or equal to 10. Then you are going to say display. Remember that there are no double quotes here because it's a variable. Otherwise, it will be taken as a message. So next one is n equals number equal number plus 1. So this is process. So you have to say calculate. Number equals number plus 1. That's all. And while, and then n. That's it. All right. So here is the answer. So this is the second one. So can you write the pseudocode for this? Printing even numbers from 1 to 100.